No, the D plus. The D plus. The D plus.
Okay. Um, we're about to start. I think it has started right now. And yeah, I think this was the last time. This was the last thing I was working on. Whew. So in the last class, I think we talked about creating a single product page, and it's still our select method that we're using. That is the read operation in CRUD operations. So we learned how to create using a simple form input by just adding several details in a form. That's how to create. And then we now talked about how to read from the database. And to read is basically what we have in our index page here. So it is fetching everything that we have from the database and is outputting everything in this index page. So at the same time, after outputting everything here, there are still some details that are hidden, which are the details that we do not what get from the database, like the product details. So we can have more information that could be displayed after clicking on more info. So this more info here will just give a specific details concerning this one product. So I describe that by using a single product page, which is going to give a unique ID and a unique product details. So every single product that we have here have their own unique ID. So when I hover on any of the link on this card, you can see the number down here changing from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. So it does not exactly have to follow this order, but it is definitely using the the ID that we have for that product in this product table. So it's because my browser is all zoomed in. That's the reason why it's looking like this. So yeah, these are the IDs that are unique for every product that we have the details for in our database. So basically, I was explaining the fact that you can make a single page for this particular product and a single page for this particular product and a single page for this particular product, but that would be a very long way. But you can just create a single page for just a single product and uniquely get the ID for each and every one of them. So you just select the details for that particular ID. So that is where you'll be able to have a single product in a dynamic way, just like what we have here. So later on, I was explaining how to make use of edit. So in the CRUD operation, we have create, which we've explained. We have the read, which we've also explained, and then we have the update. So the updates that we have here is just the same way as edit. So editing is just by you seeing the details about this product, and then you're just trying to update it or change some details about it and then save it in the database. So instead of creating a different product, you can instead of creating a different product, I mean creating a new product and inputting all these details again over and over and again, you can just basically edit it without having to delete the previous one. So that edit in our SQL query, you can see you have a button here, a template here for update. Update is basically using the function for edit. So the update here is to update the table called products and set this column ID to this value. We don't need to update this. To update the email, that column for email to update to this value, update the details for product name, that column into this value, and so on like that, where you can add a kind of confirmation, whatever function you want to add to it. So in this case now, I created a single edit page and I made my edit page look like this my add a product page. So in my edit page, I just copied the old form that I have. Right, let me zoom this one out. I don't like it too bold. So I have, where's that form? Okay, yeah, this my heart.php is where I have my form. So everything that was here, the form design is what I pasted here. And yes, so I was explaining the fact that you can add code the values that are already embedded in a form. So by clicking edit, you can see how the edit page looks like. So it comes along with a default input. So these default inputs are actually HTML tags. I mean HTML attributes, which is what value. In every input in HTML, you can what give it a value. So the value we have is on what it will have its own data. So the value here for email has its own hard-coded data, which is abc@gmail.com. And then for the product name, I just give it any random value. So those random value, aside from these product details, I didn't add a value to it. So that is exactly what you are seeing here. So in these product details, what you are seeing here is a placeholder. There is no value in it, but this one has a value. You can see when I clear it off, you can see the placeholder. Yes, so definitely this edit page is working fine, but how exactly are we going to get the details of this ID into this this unique update page or edit page? That is exactly where I was explaining using query parameters. Just like how we use query parameters to to get single products out of all products here, is the same way we are going to get a is the same way we are going to use query parameter to get the single details for this particular product, and I'll put it in this value for my HTML. So yes, where was I? So I was trying to get the data that I have in my database. Was that what I was doing? Okay, yeah, I was just rushing into the updates. Okay, so let me comment this one out. Once I comment this one out, because this is after you've clicked update. But before going to that update site, let me move on to getting the data for that particular ID in my database. So just like how you have in your single product where you have your SQL code, where you have your you included your config.php so that you'll be able to make use of this variable called database. And then I have my SQL, which is trying to get the data from the database for this particular ID, which is a unique ID. So how did I get my unique ID? I made use of a get method, which is data is gotten from the from the URL. So data is gotten from the URL. I gave it a name, which is what ID, and it's that ID that I got. So the value is dynamic based on the link that I select for more info. So that's exactly what it's getting here. So it could be one, it could be two, it could be three, it could be four. So it's dynamic that way, which is the unique ID for every selected product. And then you have this SQL code which says select all from products where the column for ID is equals to the unique ID which is generated from this URL. So that is exactly what we need here to be able to get all the data for that particular ID. So what are we doing here? It's just same way as I've explained. So SQL code which says select all from products where ID equals to this unique ID. And in this case, we are making use of change ID in this particular edit page. So the reason why I made this one look, it can be the same, but I just changed this one name because it's a variable name, so you can make use of any name, but it must tally. So once an ID has been gotten from the from the URL, yeah, so it's going to save it right here. After directing them to this edit page, it's going to save it right here in this get method, and then I'm now equating it to this change ID. So this change ID here is what I have here. So in my SQL, I'm selecting all from products where my ID column is equals to the value that is being gotten from the URL as change ID. So once that is gotten, I'm now what I was putting it here which this SQLi query is a function that connects the database together with this SQL code that I've outputted here, that I've written out here. So now this particular product, this MySQLi fetch array is like you are splitting out the ambiguous database that you've just gotten into simpler array of products. Yes. So now it's gotten down here that the values can be outputted right here. So I can make use of this. Okay. So instead of using the word echo, I made use of that equal sign. So I'm outputting the product email. So I'll make use of this kind of bracket and then input the field, which is email. Just like that, the value for that particular email should be specified in here. So once I click on edit, what do I have? Example at gmail.com. Was that the exact data that should be gotten from ID number one? Let's confirm. So once I click on browse, I can see yes, my ID one as the email example at gmail.com, which is correct. So going on with the next one, you can just have this copied and paste so that you won't have any typographical error. So as for this is product name. So I made an explanation of the fact that any data that you are getting from the database, make sure the column spelling is correct. So I'm not going to copy this. I'm just, what did I just do? Or dive it in by ID. Exactly. So yes, we have product name for the next one. For product name, so it's written out this way: product underscore name. So as for the product price, is also product underscore price. And the one for product details, okay, yeah. So I'll just have the whole value and paste it right here. Enter that quote. Yes. So as for details, was it product details I used? Yeah, product underscore details. Yeah, so we have product underscore details, and right here we have the button which says update. And then the name is update, but the type has to be submit because it's a submit button for this form. That's the reason why you don't change the type. So I'm making use of the name, which is update. I'm making use of that right here, which says if there is a post request for this name update, then you'll perform this if operation. So I'll just first test this if it's going to show all the data that I just requested for in the database. So let me just come here and refresh. Can you see these are the data? So we have the product name, we have the product price, we have the product details. Everything is just as planned. But another thing is instead of making use of an input field here, I can make use of text area. So a text area will show the whole data that we have here. So let me try if I can get that done very fast. So a text area, we have this. So a text area, we have this. Okay, so the value, there is no value for text area. Instead of that, you can have your data outputted right here. So in text area, it has an opening tag and a closing tag, which is different from input. Yeah, so I was saying that as what makes text area different from this input is the fact that in input tag, we only have an opening tag, we don't have a close tag. This is how input usually end his own tag. But in this case where it is text area have its own opening tag and a close tag. So text area does not make use of that attribute called value. So the value is supposed to be outputted in between the text area tag. Can you see? So these are just the classes that comes along with the text area, and then I'm ending it down here. So the class here will be, where is the class? Okay, form control. Yes, that's okay. And then I can have the rows of the text area. By default, I'm thinking it's three. So the row of the rows is pluralized for text area. So the rows should be three. No. Okay, so I can leave the ID and I can leave the name. Yeah. And let me save. Let me see how it all turns out. Yes, exactly. So this is how text area looks like. So you can see showing out all the outputs, and I can increase the row to be, let me say 4, just in case our details are longer than this. Where's my mouse? Yep. So this is just it. And furthermore, you can style this to be halfway. That is, it should just consume half of the column that we have here. This will be column 6, and then for product price, I can make it also column 6. I think the product name can be long, and then the email should be halfway, and then product price should be halfway. So depending on how you want to do that, you can continue with the styling later on. But let's make sure our our update button is working. So before that, let me check for what I've done for other details. Can you see this is product 2? And yes, we have the email to be sellers@gmail.com. You can confirm that with your database, and the product name, product price, and then the product details, they are all correct. So going back to this, the only reason why everything here is dynamic is because of our query parameter. So the ID is being hard coded here, and there are several other secured ways at which you can do this, but for now just let's understand this way. On the norms, your ID for every product should not be displaying this way in your URL, because basically anybody can just copy that and make use of it in several other illegal ways. So yeah, this works. So now let's make our update button function. So in my updates, I'm still going to make use of this code. So let me comment this one out. So basically what this says is that if there is a post request for update, that is, if there is an input field or a button or something that is named update is being set to a post method, yes, we have a button that the name is update and is a submit button for this form that makes use of this method what post. Then you should carry out this whole operation here, and that is exactly what's going to happen. So if there is no post method, if there is no what's it called, updates in any of all this, then it will continue and then just run this whole code instead. So now what I'm doing is what, taking the data for email to be this, taking the data for p name, which is product name, yes, to enter this product name side, and then the one for price should enter the product price, and then the one for details should enter the product details side. So what we have here is just my SQLi query that joins the database that we have, that we got from this include, yes, together with this SQL code. So basically what we've just done here is we make use of that code I showed you in this database here, which is SQL code for update. You can see update this product and set, update the table product and set the column for email to be the value that we are going to add code here, and that is this new email. So my $ email, you get that. So the column for product name, we replace that with a value gotten as product, in camel case name. So be careful of the spelling. So the one for product price is this. You can just copy that and paste that right here. So don't paste your value as your, okay, sorry, it should be a $. No place your value abi your column as your variable name. You have to take note of that. So the product details. So I'm having this for the product details. Okay, can you see? I just made the same mistake that that was correcting before. Exactly. So I did this yesterday. You can decide to close this in a bracket, and then yes, everything here should be in a bracket. It's still going to work the same way. So update the products and set this whole thing that I have here to be equal to this equal to this. Where, because you're updating the database, so you have to specify something unique. You can use the ID where ID equals to this particular ID that you've gotten from the URL, or you make use of where the email she gets the email what's it called, the email column on this my database, because this email here now is not my primary key. So everything here basically can be the same. Like you can see this admin@gmail.com, and I'm also having another admin@gmail.com, same as sellers. Everything here are not unique. So don't make use of this, because if I should make use of email to be equals to probably this particular email that was gotten after submitting, then it will probably pop up an error or submit that same details into both the two emails that are identical in your database. So basically make use of something that is unique in your database, which is why I'm making use of my ID field. So can you see this is the equals to the ID that was gotten from the URL. Exactly. So that's dynamic that way. So with this I think we are all set. This bracket is the opening and then this is the closing of the bracket. Okay. So if this is done, that is if everything here works and it returns a value of 1, it will direct us back to the index page. And then if this is not done, it will perform this else statement by echoing out error in your code at the top of this whole page. So let's save and go back to our database. So from the database, what do we want to edit? Let's say we want to, yeah, this one is duplicated. So let's edit ID3 and change the email and then the product name. I don't want the product name to be the same. So let me go back to my index page. Let me open Jumia page. Let me see if I can get some some product name and details that we can get from there. Okay, so right here, I said we want to edit here the third one. So clicking on the third one, we have the details here. Let's specify this to be random email as gmail.com, and then the product name, I want to make use of something unique like this. And where's my page? Okay, and then the product name is this. Exactly. So the product price, yes, I was supposed to make use of naira, and I was not. You can get naira from anywhere. There is no naira on your keyboard, so you can have this. Okay, yes, I think I made use of it safe. Okay, so let me just specify it to be, what's with this kind of value? 8,240. So let's say this is our product details and so on. So upon clicking updates, okay, on cut, you have an error. Okay, let's say line 13. Update product. Set email to be email, product name to be product name. Where ID equals to change ID. Then what was not the error? Did I end the line of code? Yes, I did. So it's meant to work now. Can you imagine? Just those brackets with the one causing the issue. So yes, we have this already updated, and in my database it's correct. You can see it's still here. I've not, but at the point of me reloading, you realize it has changed. Yes, so that's basically it. So it works well. So yeah, be careful with the way you make use of brackets. That was the reason why it gave us an error earlier. So I think when you already understand this, yes, you basically know when to make use of bracket and when not to. Which other thing? Let's say we want to update this because we don't like having a product name is required. Let's look for another product. Just any random product. I want to update it and make use of this name. I wish we can get details, but the details will not still be sufficient enough. Okay. Yeah, this is too long. Yeah, we have this all stacked up. So it is updated here already. Where is it safe? So on clicking more info, you can see all the details has been outputted here. So basically, there's one more thing that we not get from the database, which is our created at. So later on, you can, based on your design, you can output your created at probably down here or up here or anywhere. You can just do it that way. And even in our edit dots, this our single product details, you can add your edit button to it. So just by viewing the specific details, you can still decide to click edit, and then it will proper bring out that edit.php page for this particular ID. So there are several ways you can do that. So depending on the styling that you want, the way you want to design it, um, you can play around with it. So in my edit, so I was saying that I want to make this email field to be halfway, and then so it should be down here. So everything here is just based on CSS styling, and yes, I'll have to make this have a div, and bro, what other thing? What melody? Okay. So everything here is just based on styling. There's nothing special about it. Okay, yeah, a tab, single tab, yeah, single tab, yeah, single tab. So I need to do that here too. Code this game. So yeah, this one has to be column 12. This one 6, this one 6, and then the product details should be column 12. And yes, everything here has to be in form of a row. The idea to add a row like this, just have another separate div, div, to have a class of row. So let's just hope it comes out well. So this is for edit page. Yeah, it was fine too. So this is exactly what I mean by splitting it into two. So it still looks more okay this way to have a form like this. And you can style it whichever way you want. So that's basically how to edit using MySQL query. And in our next class, we're going to talk about making use of delete. So in that delete aspect, I will probably need to add a delete button probably beside this update, or add the delete button from here, or at the point of clicking more info I can add a delete button from here. So that will be in our next class. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Let me come back to this side.
Thank you, bro.
All right, good night. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Good night.